You know, like no evil, we no care. In your life, yeah. I'm a life, we can't defend you. Them tell me want me dead now. Drop me on the back out with them. What for me do, man? Idiot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's so yeah. I just say, only one, everybody get it. Just one, everybody get it. Just one. This brother, he live a foreign, for long, long time he live a foreign. His mother live a yard. She call him. I said, boy, she never feel when she got doctor. Then get her prescription. So she asked him if he can help her fill a prescription. So she can, you see me. He said, part of hurt me most of all. He didn't tell his mother, say, she was going to the church where she had go. Go beg them fill prescription for her. Beg her money for fill the prescription. Start keeping all the money to give her. I feel this after that. And a family member called him again. And I said, why? Mama dead now. Yes, Mama dead. Mama dead with the prescription in her hand. Mama dead with the prescription in her hand. I said, hey, all right, I'm flying. I'm coming tomorrow. I'm flying the next day. Very next day I'm flying. I said, come, family, we are going by Margaret. We go by Margaret, where they buy them sell caskets, sell caskets, the cost same place. I said, all right. My mother did, she forget the best, you know. Where is the most expensive hospital now up here? I say, they want the website here, but see the most expensive one, I put you one over there. I say, yes, but I don't want them who want. Mama forget the best. Real?
I know.
Yes, Mama forget the best. My mother is forget the best. One of these one, we can just pay for that, you know. No problem. The same mother with dead with the prescription and I think I could put up help back to the prescription. And in know by the dearest coffee for Mama.
Sure.
No, she got it down my bed, Mama forget the best. I think we laugh for that now. The funeral.
Sure.
It's a limousine, the man ran to come at the funeral and drive behind the hearse. See, man, you know. It's a limousine, the man ran to go at mother funeral, you know. To fill a prescription if you are. That's something, yeah. That's something, yeah. I'm not telling you. If my mother start an argument with me before we answer back for come out of the yard and we sit down somewhere on the road, then she come laugh. Come back. I want mother me have. Why? The only man there with the mother. No, man.
See you later.
Yeah, that's something.
18-year-old son applied the dampness relief patch for one cycle. He says he regrets not discovering it earlier.
Dampness builds up badly.
Did you know that salt isn't just for cooking? It can also help with gardening. Today I'm sharing 2 simple and practical recipes that are effective, low cost, and easy to remember. I recommend you bookmark them so you don't lose track when you need them. These methods are straightforward to prepare at home. First, take 50 grams of salt, 50 grams of baking soda, and add 50 milliliters of white vinegar, diluted in 80 pounds of water. After thorough dissolution, spray evenly on plant leaves. This not only prevents aphids and whiteflies, but also promotes vigorous growth and high yields for your crops. Second, mix 150 grams of salt, 150 milliliters of white vinegar, 100 milliliters of white wine, and 50 milliliters of dish soap diluted in 30 pounds of water. Spray this solution on weeds, and in a few days, you'll notice no more weeds in your garden, leaving your vegetable patch neat and tidy. Follow me for more daily gardening tips and tricks. Did you know that salt isn't just for cooking? It can also help with gardening. Today I'm sharing 2 simple and practical recipes that are effective, low cost, and easy to remember. I recommend you bookmark them so you don't lose track when you need them. These methods are straightforward to prepare at home. First, take 50 grams of salt, 50 grams of baking soda.
For their behavior, for
Book of Enoch explained a group of mysterious creatures that fallen angels created. Today, that's what we'll be covering in the Book of Enoch. You see, the Nephilim giants are not the only hybrid beings that were created. There were also mysterious crossbreeds between animals and humans. Let me explain. The Book of Enoch mentions how the 200 Watchers experimented on humans and animals to create monstrous hybrid beings. The book reads, "The 200 angels choose animals on which to perform unnatural acts, including presumably humans. 200 donkeys, 200 rams, 200 goats, 200 beasts, from every animal, from every bird, from miscegenation. The outcome of the demonic corruption was violence, perversion, and a brood of monstrous beings. They defiled, they begot giants and monsters." Now, as we can see, the book of Enoch referred to giants and monsters, meaning there were several different hybrids created during this time. But I really want to point out what it means when these angels gathered these animals for miscegenation. This means there was some sort of reproductive process conducted by the fallen angels, and they used animal and human DNA to accomplish their experiments regarding these twisted beings. These monstrous hybrid creatures have been documented by humanity, but is taken as mythology. But what if it's far more real than we think? The Bible tells us in the days of Noah there were non-human hybrid creatures known as the Nephilim terrorizing humanity. Let's take a look back in time at some of the most popular half-human, half-animal hybrids documented throughout history. In Greek mythology, there is a being known as Centaur. In Greek mythology, the Centaur are a race of creatures that are part horse and part man, dwelling in the mountains of Thessaly and Arcadia. This could very well be one of the outcomes of the Watchers' experiments in the Book of Enoch. This is how these creatures were created according to Greek mythology. The Centaurs were usually said to have been born of Ixion and Nephilim. Ixion is a human and fathered these beings, whilst Nephilim is a spiritual being. Doesn't this story sound familiar? As the story goes, Nephilim was a cloud made into the likeness of Hera in a plot to trick Ixion into revealing his lust for Hera to Zeus. Ixion seduced Nephilim, and with that relationship, Centaur was created. This is basically the same story of the fallen angels creating the hybrid beings through miscegenation. Miscegenation literally means reproduction through intimate relations. There are also other creatures in Greek mythology that are half human and half animal. They are known as sirens. Although most people refer to sirens as mermaids now, in Greek mythology they are half bird, half human creatures. And as we know, the Book of Enoch said, the fallen angels took 200 of every bird to genetically manipulate them, which created hybrid creatures. One of the most renowned places in the world that speaks of these hybrid beings is none other than ancient Egypt. As we analyze the hieroglyphs, we see how the gods of Egypt are detailed. For example, Thoth, god of writing, wisdom, and magic, is depicted as having a bird head and a human-like body. Also, Horus has a similar appearance. As we look at the Egyptian gods, we begin to see nearly all of the gods are hybrids between animals and humans. My question is, were these hybrids worshipped as gods in ancient Egypt? I think it is possible that the creatures created by the fallen angels through miscegenation were worshipped as gods alongside the fallen angels, since the fallen angels could have just passed the advanced spiritual knowledge to their offspring, making them indistinguishable from an angelic being themselves as far as spiritual wisdom. One thing we must acknowledge is that the fallen angels in heaven wanted to be worshipped as gods, and they were casted to earth and were being worshipped as gods along with their offsprings. Perhaps some of these beings are still alive today, which is why creatures such as the Mothman have allegedly been spotted. Mothman in West Virginian folklore is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 15, 1966 to December 15, 1967, and hence his name. He looks like he's partially a giant moth and partially a man. In mid-November 1966, in the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, two young couples fled the local woods, claiming they'd seen a terrifying creature. They recounted their story to the sheriff and reported that the entity looked human in most respects, except for its 10-foot wings and glowing red eyes. Mysterious beings that are believed to exist but haven't been proven to exist have been labeled as cryptids, and these cryptid creatures have been spotted all over the world. However, there is something very important about the creatures. They all have something in common. They all seem to look like hybrid creatures, which is why I made the comparison between the hybrids in the Book of Enoch and these mysterious cryptid creatures. Genesis 6:4. Now the biblical hybrids existed before the great flood and also after. From this verse, we can further imply that the reason we're seeing these cryptic creatures is because they survived the flood. The great flood was actually necessary. God just knew in order to cleanse the earth, he needed to remove all of the corruption as a whole. These creatures are also known as abominations. God did not intend for these beings to exist, which is why most of them were eradicated. Even if we still see small signs of their existence, it's nowhere near as bad as it was in the days of old. These hybrid creatures were terrorizing.
Engine on council property. Did you know that you could be owed thousands, if not tens?
You want to know what the saddest shit is?
In the next few weeks, there's a very, very strong positive impact.
You want to know what the saddest shit is? You live in a world of hypocrites, where people wish for your failure, but smile in front of you as if they love you. If I had to live my life over again, I wouldn't change a thing. I've learned that it's not my job to fix what I didn't break.
But that's going to go okay.
Watch this video before it's removed from the internet.
Somebody impounds your car, parked it where it wasn't supposed to be parked, and they towed it, put it on an impound lot. And the guy wants some $250 for towing and $100 a day for storage. Well, anybody that's in possession of your vehicle who doesn't have title to it is renting your vehicle. So you send him a true bill for renting your automobile for as long as he's had it. If you want to go down to the local courthouse, you can pull up a lawsuit by Avis Rent-A-Car or Hertz Rent-A-Car, copy it, and sue the tow truck company. Or if a police officer orders a tow truck company to remove your vehicle from the highway and he won't give it back to you, send him a true bill for towing, for rent-a-car. Your car will be back in one day, maybe a couple hours. The fraud that takes place here is profound with the
Good to see you in here.
All judges, attorneys, lawyers, politicians all swear the same oath that no law or fact shall be retried in court. If I just were to
Take the
drop
smoke.
one of these two positions, if you look at it, empty. It's an empty compound.
Marcel tells me you're our resident humanitarian. Well, you couldn't have... You know, I kind of missed the times when it was hedge fund managers and D-grade celebrities we had to scrape off the floor of the VIP lounge. Now with these gas prices, the freaking oil tycoons are back in style. And I mean, there's assholes and there's assholes, you know? And oil and gas people are definitely assholes.
Simply check. It take you up to 60 seconds.
So,
You want to from the shop?
let me walk on.
Open house.
Nah. In a bit. Yeah. Alright, bang. Where's that top in the shop? So we ain't seen it, man. And they ain't give us it, man. Oh, the chain, bro. CD chain by the look of it.
Later.
Oh, hell, that thing will take down a moose.
I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Get out the damn road, man. Get a little day in the road. Come on now. Yeah, I don't want to do it.
I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Because
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you
you're only there to try.
Enjoy what's left of society.
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend,
No way! Great car!
remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Hey, looking forward to seeing you on
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember,
Hey, what's
I'm
up?
bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Whatevs.
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy.
What? What? No, I don't want nothing.
I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
I don't want no cup of tea, nothing, man. It's too hot for a cup of tea, son.
I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
That's a grenade launcher!
It doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy.
Another bum, man.
Bigger than that. I still want to see you eat.
Come experience the excitement of the ancient art
Another
of rich
bum,
people
man.
trying to be faster than each other. It's premier horse racing at the Inside Track.
How can I help you? You know the one. That's Shelby.
I don't know who you're talking about, Jay.
Oh, that was coming.
Count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Hell, this reminds me of our honeymoon.
I'll take that 20. Mm-hmm.
Taking the big city by storm.
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy.
Returning the call.
Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Okay, so I know a guy who manages a hill farm, right? His overhead is kid.
as an enemy, remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Stop!
If you ever lose me as a
Okay,
friend, it
gonna
doesn't mean
cost
you
a
can count me
little.
as an enemy.
I know
Remember,
someone
I'm
who
bigger
has
than
what
that.
we
I still
need.
want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
That's not at my table.
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still
See
want
it
to
there,
see you
bro.
eat, just not at my table.
Where is it?
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever
Did you see what?
doesn't mean you can
Oh.
count me as an enemy.
Where's my spray can, man? I don't see it in here. No, just leave it on the side.
Oh, I didn't get myself a charger.
Oh, no.
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you
Focus
eat,
still on the
just
bed.
not at my table.
Yeah.
When I was in Sainsbury's.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, oh, I've got an appointment with you tomorrow.
As a friend, it doesn't
Come
mean
out
you
and
can count
do
me
the
as an
2-year
enemy.
health review thing
Remember,
for
I'm bigger than that. I still
Mama's.
want to see you eat,
I
just
went,
not at my table.
don't need it.
No, we don't need it.
She went, is everything, I said, fine. I said, his way was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I said, in fact, he's more clever than most. I said, and he's doing absolutely fine. She goes, oh, okay, no problem. Then she goes, I won't bother coming.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, don't come up with it. What was that? Oh. Don't waste your time coming here, man. I got picked up my spray cans, but I don't know where to spray. Hmm? Where are my spray cans? And where is it then?
I want to start painting them as well. So you do it.
You can sell whenever you want, man.
Well, I'm just doing them there lunch and then I'll come on.
Yeah, I'm not in a
I'll
rush.
do the pie breast anyway first.
Mm.
And just go try and get them.
Doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can
Where
count
the
me as
damn
an
spray
enemy.
can is
Remember,
crossed.
I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
What's this?
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still
Find
want
what?
to see you eat, just not at my table.
I collected it, but I don't know what to do with it. I can't find it in my thing. I did collect it from there. Okay, so let me just go do it.
Bigger than that, I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
Just not at my table.
If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. If you ever lose me as a friend, it doesn't mean you can count me as an enemy. Remember, I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
God was protecting you from something that was going to kill, steal, and destroy your destiny. While you thought you were being rejected, remember God has a plan for you. Sometimes, God will let you walk into uncomfortable situations where all you can do is rely on Him. Don't be anxious. God is about to show you He is faithful. Trust God to save your situation. Your time is coming. Have faith. If it's meant to be, God will make a way. Don't stress. God has a plan. Once, a man was asked, God was protecting you from something that was going to kill, steal.
see what I'm saying? We're sending astronauts into space. And it's literally just power. Nothing to do with religion. If anything, the USSR was an atheist country. They hated religion. They started to destroy, like, churches and mosques and all that. Right, but that's just history. Like, again, I'm pointing out how, like, people, regardless of religion...
We on? Okay.
They're going to cause wars. The point of religion
Oh.
is behind that. The point of religion never called anyone to
Nah,
to anybody.
we ain't doing it.
Religion called people to find peace of themselves. At least it's not. I can't speak for every religion, but I'll speak for mine. Is that it's not fundamentally curious about your own peace of mind and your own peace of heart. And it comes to do with how do we communicate as a community? Am I going to be